Well, I don't know about you, Lewis. I like a bit of karting from time to time. It looks like the drivers had fun, though, when they went around, of course, the Riyadh. Of course, we had the Boulevard kart circuit that they went around. It was truly fascinating, a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it certainly was. A lot of good driving, a lot of not great driving, but you know they're sim drivers for a reason. A few drivers were really strong on that one. I know it's kind of completely irrelevant, but like Kevin Ellis Jr. was quite strong. Greg Carroll.
Dara was quite physical.
Dara McCormack, yeah, I mean physical, maybe a little bit of a wimp, but we'll move on. I think we're about to head. By the way, we're close to heading into qualifying. So in a few minutes' time, we will have that first qualifying between these 12 drivers.
We certainly do, and we're watching the Furia car make its way around. And Lasse Sorensen, you can see in the bottom right of your screen, currently in place and sending the car through Rivage as we speak. As we said, many opportunities for overtaking here at Spa, most notable being the Kemmel Straight, but we have seen moments where drivers have gone side by side up through Eau Rouge as well. La Source, we've seen a couple of incidents through there as well, Lewis. I mean, we saw it with Dane Warren, of course, back in the start of the spring series. That's going to be a bone of contention as we see the Furia team boss looking on. And they'll now make their way through towards the next chicane. Now we have got just, I think, around 1.5 minutes to go, and we step into qualifying action now, Lewis.
Yeah, I was like, is this a quali lap from Lasse Sorensen? No. We're not in qualifying yet. We'll speak a little bit of the lap time that they're aiming for, and we'll obviously update you on the sector times as well as they come through. But it's roughly aiming for a 2-minute 14.2. Any faster than that, we're looking probably at pole time. Any slower than that, and hey, we'll update you on that one. And that would be a 38.8 in the first sector. We'll see the sector times when we get into qualifying, and a reminder as to how qualifying works. They go out one at a time, so we get to see the whole of the first lap, and then we get to see the end of every single lap and everyone across the line. I love this format.
And it's all down to the drivers as well, and it means they've all got clean air. They've all got clean air. They have no excuse when it comes out to going out on track. No one's to blame but themselves if they do a poor lap time. As we see now the cars make their way through yet again towards La Source. As we now see the Furia turn its heels heading through towards La Source now, just beckoning its way through turn one. Exiting now, you've got to be careful of that gravel trap on the left-hand side. You can rumble across the top of the sausage curve. It will make the car unstable. And now the famous Eau Rouge and Radion section, folks. Now, if you know this circuit, if you've watched ESL R1 before, you'll know we've had many a major moment happen at this portion of the track leading up through towards Les Combes. Definitely some side-by-side action being teed up heading through this particular straight, Lewis.
And of course, one thing with Wrenchport is this is the new build of Spa, so it has the new gravel traps, it has the new grandstand at the top of Radion as well. It is what is current laser scan as well, as we'll see heading through Les Combes, heading through Malmedy, and then starting this drop and descent down the hill. I'm kind of wondering who's going to be coming on top of this. Of course, Yaroslav was 100% set on it being Erhan Yovsky, of course, our LG driver to watch.
Should we lay our predictions on the table?
I'm saying Siggy.
You're going to go Kevin Siggy.
Saying Siggy.
That's a huge statement, Lewis McGlade.
Thank you.
I'm going to step up and I'm going to back the Great Dane, Freddie Rasmussen.
That is brave.
I'm going deep. I'm going to go with Freddie Rasmussen. I think he has got it in his locker. He is a sim racer's racer. As now, you can see from the graphics, folks, qualifying is about to get underway. There's our LG driver to watch as well in the midst. We saw, of course, Johan Jojovski, and we'll very soon be seeing them make their way through Spa-Francorchamps. But that only means one thing, Lewis McGlade. Qualifying is about to become upon us.
Yeah, slightly delayed, but that normally tells me that we're about to have a great qualifying session. It's been a bit of a wait as we get ready for the first qualifying session to see the first pole sitter, to see the first driver potentially going after a race victory and 35 points, which would almost certainly confirm their way through into Friday's action as they battle for an enormous today and tomorrow $400,000 prize pool, 100 grand going their way to the winner. Lasse Sorensen will be the first driver to do a lap, so he heads his way down into La Source, heads his way down this hill, and again begins this 2-kilometre mega run as we come towards Eau Rouge and Radion.
Certainly will. Here is Lasse Sorensen now, and he is going to be the very first now to rise up through this section and to lay down what he'll hope to be a very fast lap time. Now, he has had success here before. Many a great overtake executed by this man representing the Brazilian team as the Dane now climbs up through the Kemmel Straight once again. as part of a Danish contingent we have here in ESL R1. And have a look at this action shot we have of him now making his way through Laycom, whipping through the right and the left. Metal Medi comes up next as well. Keep it pinned as you make yourself, make your way through this section. Be careful about the gravel trap on the left-hand side. And now the descent into Rivage. Braking point absolutely essential. And then try and cling onto the inside while just feathering that throttle as he now powers his way through towards the Jackie X corner, formerly No Name, as people might know it as too. Dips in very wide though on entry and exit, but looks like he's okay as now he descends into Puon here. Yeah, decent first sector from Lasse Sorensen, about a 10th off where we were talking. Hooks up to the apex, maybe a little bit wide going through Puon. Finds his way to the second apex on the exit up towards Lafania, and we're approaching the end of the second sector. Once we depart campus towards Stavelo, that's where it appears, the sector split. Lasse Sorensen looking like a tidy lap from the Dane. Of course, a part of Furia, like you say, there's Brazilian in the team, there's Danish in the team. We're calling it Brainish, but you know, each to their own on that one. Let's see what he is over the second sector split. Lasse Sorensen, a 59.869. It's a couple of tenths down on where we were expecting. I think he's aiming for a mid-14 here. It's not going to be pole, but it should be quite strong. Yeah, he'll hope to tie up this final sector as well. The very fast-paced Blanchimont section, you can go flat out pretty much as well. As you can see, very aggressively hanging on to the outside so he can cut in aggressively down once again through towards the bus stop chicane. Here this time around, it's Lasse Sorensen who's going to take us through the final two corners here on this lap. Where is the Furia car going to place itself? Is it Fury for Furia as it crosses the line? As he does so, a sector 3 time of a 35.859 grants him a 2:14.632. It's an okay time, but it could still yet be beaten, Lewis. Oh yeah, that almost certainly will be beaten. Maybe it'll be by this man. He's found an extra 100th in the first sector, a couple of hundredths, around about the same kind of time in the second sector there with a 59.9. Again, that's about 3 tenths down on where we expect. It's sort of going to be in that ballpark of 14.5, 14.6, 14.7 potentially for Marco Pajic, who's had race wins again in person. He's had race wins online. Of course, our round 6 winner in ESL R1 across the line. He will go, and he's a 10th off Lasse Sorensen. That is not a good lap for the Mercedes driver. Certainly not at all. Patrick Holzman, who is here for Mouse, makes his way through towards the next left at Blanchimont as well. The Audi that's looking to be dialed in, and certainly nestle in a superior lap time. 38.784 in the first sector, 59.864. It's going to be in the midst, but obviously at this point needs to make his way through the final two corners and try and marshal himself a little bit more through the final sector. Can he topple Sorensen from the top? Patrick Holzman does go to the top, a 2:14.546. He lays down a time 86 thousandths clear of Sorensen, but here comes Mitchell de Jong. First sector is okay. Second sector, though, unfortunately, is mid-tier. 1 minute going above the 1 minute barrier into a 1:0.48. That is not going to be good enough, but again, could well challenge Marco Pajic here. He comes through the final sector, and the Porsche Coanda Esports driver of Mitchell de Jong up towards the line. I think it might actually, unfortunately, be fourth for them, and it is a couple of tenths off. But as we're heading through, look at the next few names. Tommy Usgaard, Erhan Jovski, Ibrahim Khan, Jack Keithley. We've got some big names before we get to Freddie Rasmussen. Yeah, Tommy Usgaard looking particularly strong as well in the first sector. 38.7 at this point. 59.6 is where we'd expect the second sector, but it's a 59.7. He's not far away as the Norwegian. Heads down now towards the final two bends here at bus stop, as the man representing Heroic is going to try and launch himself here now as he makes his way up towards the line. Where's it going to be for Tommy Usgaard? He raises the alarm here this time. First fast is there for Tommy Usgaard, a 2:14.425, puts him at the very top, but here comes the magnificent Macedonian Erhan Jovski, and he's on a fast time. Yeah, I mean, the second sector unfortunately is not very good. The first sector is very good. It's actually in keeping of what Tommy Usgaard did. His first sector was absolutely mega. Was the Norwegian, but the Macedonian into the final sector. The cheers from him when Marcel Cinčić grabbed pole position over him back in Nürburgring in Munich. Erhan Jovski will come up towards the line. It's going to be good enough maybe for third or fourth. It's good enough for fourth, 2 tenths off a pole. It's not a great lap time for the Macedonian, but it's good enough to keep him in the mix. Yeah, super first sector certainly did help him out a little bit. Lost a little bit of time though in that middle sector. It did not help. Ibrahim Khan also coming through 59.8. It's better than what we've seen from other drivers. 38.8 in the first first sector, a 10th down on where he perhaps should be as well. But the final sector could prove fruitful for the Brit as he now heads up towards the line. Where is he going to be as he does cross the line? Fifth fastest. And I think from Ibrahim Khan's standpoint, that's not a bad visit for the BMW team.
Yeah, he's never done LAN events. He's never done anything on this scale. He's not really raced on Rennsport too much. He did a few rounds online in ESL R1, so very good lap time there from Ibrahim Khan. I told him it'd be harsh to him, but actually on broadcast, I'll be a good boy. Jack Keithley, someone who has got experience doing LAN events and plenty of it, including racing Kevin Siggy. He and Kevin Siggy had quite the rivalry a few years ago, so seeing them on track together will be quite interesting. The Williams Esports driver up towards the line, 38.8 in the first sector, decent, 59.8 average. He'll cross the line to go third and moves his way up onto the second row of the grid before Krim comes round.
Yeah, Ian Porter, who is a little bit off in the second sector, has lost just a shade of time. He's only 2/10 away in the first sector. A real sign of improvement here from the man who's moved across from Call of Duty. Really has delivered plenty already, and the strides he is making as he looks to set sights on yet another campaign in ESL R1. Now hurtles through now the bus stop chicane. What's he going to find in that third sector? It could make the difference between finishing towards the bottom, between the top as well. Plenty on offer here for the FaZe driver as he comes up towards the line. It's a 36.2 in that final sector. Not a bad show for Ian Porter. Again, an improvement on where he was before.
But if you want to know how much of an improvement that was, Ian Porter will be absolutely devastated with that lap. He knows that that is not good. He knows he can actually get right within a second of this top lot. So yeah, he won't be particularly pleased. Let's see what your pick will do. Freddie Rasmussen, G2 Esports on debut here this round. As let's see what he'll do across the line. Again, kind of heading towards Jack Keithley's time. That's exactly where he goes. 10th and a half off of pole position. A 14.4 though, I will say. We know they can go faster. Kevin Ellis Jr. is up next.
Yeah, and Rasmussen, only a month and a half of practice on the Rennsport platform. Of course, a two-time Formula E Accelerate champion, and will not partake in that event because he's here with us. Kevin Ellis Jr. now making his way through the bus stop chicane. 38.8, 59.8 in the first and second sectors. Now across the line for Kevin Ellis Jr. Usurps Freddie Rasmussen and goes third fastest for the Apex Racing team. A superb showing from the young Brit. But here comes Mustachio. It's Kevin Siggy.
Yeah, again, losing out a bit of time in that second sector, but I think they might just be a little bit slower generally. This team, Team Redline, have been so fast through practice, and the Slovenian now comes down into that final sector. This could be good enough to get him into second, potentially, maybe ahead of Patrick Holzman. I don't think he's challenging Tommy Uskard at the moment. He'll punch his way out towards the line, and is he going to grab the first pole position? The answer is no. It is good enough for second, just half a tenth off. Great lap time from Siggy, but not good enough to beat Tommy Uskard.
A fantastic declaration of pace there from none other than Kevin Siggy. An absolute stellar showing, but nevertheless it's Tommy Uskard who marks his return here to ESL R1 and takes heroic on a heroic lap and to the top, Lewis McGlade.
Yeah, fantastic lap time from Tommy Uskard. He really is showing himself to be quite the strong driver. He sets himself up for the first pole position of ESL R1 here at Gamers8.
Yeah, and we're going to take you through also the starting grid, and here for the ESL R1 brought to you by Aramco. And of course, we're going to take you through from bottom 12 to the top, of course, brought to you by ALJ as well. Ian Porter at the very back in P12, joined by Mitchell de Jong in 11th place. Marco Pejic in P10, he'll be hoping for more. Ibrahim Khan alongside him in 9th. We've got Erhan Yuyovski 8th, of course, driver to watch. Lasse Sorensen in 7th place, with Jack Keithley in 6th. Freddie Rasmussen in his first start on ESL R1 territory, it's P5 for him. 4th place for Kevin Ellis Jr. Patrick Holzman lines up in 3rd. Kevin Siggy taking red line to the front row in 2nd, and it's Tommy Uskard, the man representing Heroic here in the very first qualifying session here in the Gamers8, of course, here at ESL, brought to you by Aramco, ESL R1 that is, folks. What a stellar showing for the young man. Of course, fastest lap, powered by ALJ.
I mean, you say young man. I think Tommy Uskard's not really qualified as a young man anymore.
Well, what a stellar showing. There he is, folks. Trim and proper. He is looking to go one step further. Will it be a race win for Heroic? Can he convert this top-end qualifying result and to put that Norwegian flag straight on the front end. To be the first winner from Norway, to be the first winner itself here at Gamers8 here in ESL R1, brought to you by Aramco, it's a big deal. He could make history.
Yeah, he's certainly in position to do so, but it's whether Kevin Siggy attacks him off of the front row. But yeah, I mean, taking that first pole position, taking the very first ALJ fastest qualifying lap of ESL R1, sponsored by Aramco here at Gamers8, it's a big deal. It kind of rectifies that confidence. It makes you breathe. It makes you kind of calm, thinking, actually, I've got the speed. But remember, the difference between first place and second place is 15 points. 35 points for the winner, 20 for second.
Such a gap, and it means that P1 is all the more vital. They're going to be fighting on lap 1, folks. La Source is going to be tasty. Eau Rouge could be even tastier. Kemmel, you can bet your bottom dollar. It's going to be sensational. We can't wait, and of course, a great advert for here, racing as well as sim racing here at ESL R1. We have grown so much. You look back as well from where we started at Katowice. We went to the Munich Summit. We are here now, of course, at Gamers8, bringing to you a large stage, a huge platform, a long list of very successful drivers and teams as we look to get ready and raring to go here for racing action. Get ready, folks at home. We can't wait. Get hyped up. Get the chat going. We want to hear from you. Where can you see this one going here, Lewis McGlade?
Yeah, I mean, who do you think is going to win at home? We've all made our predictions. You picked Freddie Rasmussen. I've picked Kevin Siggy. Jardier did manage to pick Haniowski. He's a little bit further down, but fair enough. That's all right. That's all right. I'm feeling good about my pick, by the way. Starting on the front row. But I've got to say, I've raced Kevin Siggy a lot over the last sort of 10 years. He can get aggressive. He can get brutal. He can get feisty. He can get in his own head, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where it all starts here. All the 5 lights are lit, and it's pedal to the metal, and it is go, and a very scrappy start already, as now we see the red line of Kevin Siggy making its way through, and a little bit of argy-bargy as well, as Kevin Ellis Jr. makes his way through. Collisions at the start, cars in the gravel trap, sensational scenes now, as Page looks to fight his way through. Tommy Usgaard, there he is, lines up just ahead of the Furia 2. Page now leading as well. The BS competition BMW through the first sector as they make the climb through towards Kemmel.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but there was someone completely backwards in all of that. Freddie Rasmussen was certainly pushed off, so it's not been the best start as we look at Marco Pajic on the race down towards the first sort of section. You can see already track limit exertion being applied to Ibrahim Khan. There's the send down the inside from Mitchell de Jong and the Porsche Coanda as we head through Les Combes and through Malmedy. But great start there for Kevin Siggy to take the lead by 1.1 seconds from this position. If he can clear, if he can keep himself calm, I don't see Kevin Siggy throwing this one away. Yeah,
stark contrast from where he was. Obviously back in the spring season, had his own set of challenges ahead of him. Despite Redline winning the title, Kevin Siggy was very downhearted on his performances in that prior season, but has come back and has already lurched himself forward by 1.1 seconds. Tommy Usgaard will be kicking himself. He had the chance then to take the lead in the opening race here at the Gamers8 here in the ESL R1, brought to you by Aramco as the cars now make their way through the Lafanier chicane. There is the mouse being driven by that of Patrick Holzman. Big points on the table for every single driver, but it's all about P1. It's all about the 35 points here in race 1.
Yeah, everyone scores points, don't get me wrong, but again, as we've spoken to before, just of all of the 48 drivers today across the 4 grids we've got, Group A, B, C and D, just 12 will move through. They're all paying points into the same table. It's not the top 3 from this group, it is the top 12 from the overall. So Kevin Siggy will get 35 points if he finishes it. That goes into the overall standing. That'll push him right towards the top, obviously, for now, because it's the first race. But you need to get good points early. If you're not inside that top 3, I don't think you're going anywhere unless you win the next race.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on there, Lewis McGlade. Lasse Sorensen, who, as I said before, has a great record of performing strongly at Spa-Francorchamps. He could yet do so again. 3rd place here in this classification, chasing after the man who went pole, the very first pole position of this event this week here at Gamers8, as Tommy Usgaard makes his way out of the La Source section, heading out of turn 1. You'll then make the climb up through towards turns 2 and 3. Lasse Sorensen, if he can keep this pinned, if he can keep this dialed in, it could give him the run heading through Kemmel, get himself in the slipstream as the BMW with its mighty grunt makes its way up the hill now, and Lasse Sorensen knows what's on the menu. A P2 that could garner him further points. It's the difference between scoring 16, between that and 20 plenty if he gets P2. Heads up the hill now in towards this section. Can't quite find a way through, heading through Laycom, but might fancy his chances later on. As I said, so much to manage, tyres, everything. It all needs to be managed by these drivers, and it could come to fruition later on in the race.
Yeah, the only concern that I've got for Kevin Siggy is that I'm wisely informed that the BMWs do actually kind of wear their tyres out. They overheat them quite a bit, particularly on the rear side. So that could well be a problem around here. So we might well see Tommy Usgaard close his way back up to Kevin Siggy, and that's actually maybe why Lasse Sorensen didn't go on the attack, because if he goes on the attack, Kevin Siggy's won this race regardless. If he lets Tommy Usgaard try and catch for a little bit, maybe there is a chance that the race victory might come his way as well. It's all about playing the long game in a short race. That is what makes ESL R1 so exciting to watch. Lasse Sorensen, though, with plenty of experience on the racetrack, has been in sim racing for well over 10 years, but also when it came to his debut in ESL R1, it was at this circuit and he made it all the way through into the final as well. So he's got pace, he's got pedigree around here, and he's showing it now.
Yeah, short format, plenty of chances though for the drivers around the longest circuit in this calendar. There's going to be plenty certainly for Kevin Siggy to be delighted about should he be able to carry this to the end. Redline getting off to the perfect start here with a 1.2 second gap between him and Tommy Usgaard. But what I will say about Usgaard, he's maintaining that gap as we now see the cars coming closer and closer together. I will say this, Sorensen back on the tail of Tommy Usgaard within 2 tenths. He is threatening that P2. Marco Pajic also asking big questions of Kevin Ellis Jr. as though they make their way out of bus stop. And there was a little moment there for Kevin Ellis Jr. just flicking the front end of his car now as they cross the line once again, and it's Kevin Siggy to take them through down towards Le Source still. There you can see the distance. Tommy Usgaard with Lasse Sorensen just locked in behind a Furia, waiting patiently, might once again plumb for a move heading up through Kemmel Straight as they now dial their way up through towards Eau Rouge and Radion once again. The grandstands on the right hand side, Paddock on the left. Watch and observe as the cars come over the crest now. Sorensen once again gaining time in a straight line, but losing it slightly though. I think Usgaard now starting to rein in that delta as he starts to creep into a second. He's not 2 tenths off the gap between him and Kevin Siggy.
Yeah, all things playing equal, remember that if things are realistic, it would be 3 people rather from each group that will move through into tomorrow. So being in the top 3 is great. Top 4 sounds good, but you need to do more in the next race. So Kevin Ellis Jr., Marco Pajic, they might want to get on with it right now and see if there is any chance for them to make their way past Lasse Sorensen. But Tommy Usgaard and that Porsche for Heroic is actually pretty quick in a straight line. They were saying that the Porsches are actually pretty fast when it comes to the end of the Kemmel Straight. Also, I know that they're pretty decent around Monza now. It's where they actually struggled a little bit in Munich. So certain changes for them coming into this round might actually make Tommy Usgaard a very hard car to overtake. He's holding the gap at around about 1 second. It's kind of going up and down, 1.0 to 1.2 in that gap between himself and Kevin Siggy as we look at Freddie Rasmussen at the back of the field. Big shame for him after that issue at T1.
Yeah, really did come a cropper at that portion. Definitely not the way you want to start your first campaign, or certainly the first race in your campaign here at ESL R1. As we said, every single point counts. It all matters. Naturally, big prize pools on the line. One of the biggest you'll ever see in sim racing in today's climate. As now we see the cars, they make their way out to Sector 2 into Sector 3. They've got Blanchimont coming up next. And as we said before, and as you presented as well, Lewis, of course, talking about Tommy Usgaard and how he's managed to lay down at least some kind of defence against that of Lasse Sorensen. It's his work in that final sector that gives him that gap, and then making his way down through towards Les Sources that certainly protects him against any ensuing attack heading in towards Les Com. But I'm looking further up, and once again Sorensen knocking on the door, trying to ask questions again of that of Tommy Usgaard. They cross the line, but look at Usgaard. Currently now, within a second, he's clawing the delta back, and this could lead to a great crescendo coming to the end of the race.
Yeah, if I'm Sorensen, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm letting him do it. I know Tommy Usgaard's not going to have a crash with Kevin Siggy, so I'm still going to have to work my way through. But realistically right now, whilst, yes, I've got something to gain from getting past Tommy Usgaard, it's only 4 points. It's only 16 versus 20. I want 35 points. I want to be looking comfortable. I want to almost guarantee my way through into tomorrow's action. And so for Lasse Sorensen right now, he's playing the long game. But this is where the experience in sim racing, I don't know if, say, for example, Luke Bennett was in that scenario. If he was behind, he's a young gun, he's a feisty character. Dara McCormack in the same boat. Would they just go on the attack regardless? Would they try and work their way through regardless? Lasse Sorensen is using his head. He's playing the long game.
Certainly is, and got very close again, heading through towards Lake Com. Might have chosen to go a little later on the brakes on that occasion. As I said before, it's all about time management, as we see Erhan Yuyovski, of course, the man that was declared LG driver to watch And of course, we spoke earlier on about Jaroslav Honzik. Of course, he earmarked this young Macedonian as a promising member of that selection, and naturally part of that great RHG team that would go very close to the team's title in the Spring Series, only to be usurped by Kevin Siggy's team, Team Redline. However, it would be an RHG driver, that being Marcel Chinchik, that would go on to take the driver's title, as we now see the RHG make its way through the middle portion of this track. Le Fanier chicane, and now chasing after the Porsche Coanda, dead ahead of him. That, of course, being Mitchell de Jong, as that they peel through now, heading through the Campus and Stavelot section, through towards Corbeil-Port Frere as well, and then around Blanchimont, heading through towards the bus stop chicane. Kevin Siggy now still marshalling a defence, but still Usgaard chipping away at the Delta, very nearly broken into the 9/10s, and here's the replay here from the start here, Lewis.
Okay, so Keithley was really aggressive down the inside of the first corner. That pushed off Erhan Yovsky, and it was Keithley that was the one that was spun round, but I'm going to be honest, he was really aggressive into that first corner, and you can see him say, "That I can lip read that, that's an oh, come on."
Yeah.
So that's fine, that is PG, we're okay. But he was not particularly pleased by that.
Look at the Delta.
But my vibe is that he's kind of gone in a little bit too hot, but again, it's very hard to tell from that angle, and also they were like 3 and 4 wides, fair enough. You're absolutely right, that Delta, top spot to second, 8/10 now. It's
creeping downwards time after time. Tommy Usgaard, like a woodpecker, is pecking away at the Delta, bringing it down. He knows what's on the line. A woodpecker.
I've never heard that.
Well, I'm making it happen. As we're now seeing them make their way up towards the Kevel Straight. Tommy Usgaard now just under 8/10 away, 7.5 It's creeping down by half a tenth, as he makes his way through towards Kemmel. He's broken to within 7/10 now. Usgaard is on a charge, trying to usurp that of Kevin Siggy as we pan across the studio section, obviously right out in the arena. They're all there in the rigs. The tension is flowing. You can cut it with a knife as Usgaard makes his way through Ravage. A little smile on his face as now we see also Kevin Ellis Jr. looking to come into the fight, and now Lasse Sorensen under severe pressure here, Lewis.
I hadn't even realised that Kevin Siggy and Jack Keith were in rigs next to each other until we got that angle. Again, those two do not like each other, so I mean, thankfully they're on different sides of this grid right now. Jack Keithley, unfortunately, at the back after that incident at T1, and Kevin Siggy at the front. But will he be at the front in 3 laps' time? He's got 2.5 laps really to save face and to try and hang on. But this is what we were talking about. The BMWs, they are rapid in qualifying. They have to pace early doors in the race, but there are question marks over their tyre longevity, and we are starting to see that now. Potential overheating on the rears, and you can see that sliding into Campus. That is going to cause a few problems. This gap is going to absolutely disappear. Surely he's not going to have to drive as they head through Stavelot and up towards the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, Tommy Usgaard smelling redemption. Kevin Siggy, looking in the rearview mirror, is very much aware that the heroic Porsche is hunting him down piece by piece, and Usgaard is closer to Siggy than Sorensen is to Usgaard. The Norwegian is giving it everything here as they now make the climb down through towards the bus stop chicane, through the right and the left. That's what's coming up next, and a very, very careful, considered move heading through La Source will surely open up the door to more Delta gain on that of Kevin Siggy. They make their way across the line still. Lap 6 of 7, penultimate lap of this race too, as now they power down, heading through this very tricky section. They'll drop down through the gears as well, and they'll now put the power down yet again to make the climb up through towards Eau Rouge and Radillon. It's Kevin Siggy who leads the way, but as we come down now to the final 2 laps of this first race here at the ESL R1, powered by Aramco here at the Gamers8, it's about to kick off here, Lewis McGlade.
Yeah, nail-biter at the moment for the likes of Andre Kunchman and all those behind the scenes at Team Redline. They'd want to see Kevin Siggy move their way through, but they know a victory could be the deciding factor and all that. But that's same with all those behind the scenes at Heroic. That's the same with Tommy Usgaard right now. But look at this in the background. Lasse Sorensen is under pressure from Kevin Ellis Jr. He's going to work his way around the outside. 3rd position, the Apex Racing Team driver goes. So there is a position switch. It's just not where we expected it. I wonder if that might have been some form of like light slowdown penalty, because Lasse Sorensen was right on the rear end of Tommy Usgaard, and now he finds himself down in 4th.
Could be a sign of things to come now as Tommy Usgaard once again drops the Delta, but this time Kevin Ellis Jr. making the initial move here in the final stages of this race to push Apex Racing Team now into 3rd in this classification, and Sorensen once again at the mercy of yet another car. It's none other than former event winner, Marco Pajic, here in ESL R1 as well. One of the, certainly one of the sensational stars that we can look out for as they now make their way through the middle sector. Certainly here on lap 6 of 7, there could be more to come. We're on that penultimate lap. We're soon to be on the final lap, and Kevin Siggy is seeing the delta that he has bridged out starting to seep away as time goes on. And if you're Tommy Usgaard right now, you've got to have an abundance of confidence that you can pull something off. But I tell you what, look at Pajic. He's so dialed in right now. Yeah, he's really focused. Again, the Mercedes wears out its fronts more so than its rear, so it can go on the attack potentially a bit later on as they're trying to push their way through. Blanchimont next to come, and I get the feeling that Lasse Sorensen again in that BMW, again in the question marks as to how long it keeps its tyres on. That could be all of what it is right now. He's trying to save face and maybe hang on inside that top 5. Just one lap left to go. 7 kilometres of thrilling racing. This has been building up to quite the crescendo in the very first race here at ESL R1, sponsored by Aramco. Could be coming to the close with quite the finish. Kevin Siggy leads across the line to start the final lap. Tommy Usgaard, though, as close as he has ever been. He certainly is, and this could be the chance that he's been waiting for. And there is one particular straight that the drivers know and love, as Kevin Siggy looks in his mirrors, is very much aware that Tommy Usgaard is right behind him. 4 tenths between them. It becomes now down into the 3s as they make the climb now through Rouge and Radion. The Porsche now singing as it now ascends through towards the first sector, heading through the Camel Straight. It's going to be asking now the question that he's been looking to ask. Tommy Usgaard now looks to rise, heading up through towards Lake Com. Defensive from Kevin Siggy, but he's not getting jiggy because here comes Tommy Usgaard peckering away down the inside now as he now pushes through towards Malmedy. Outside line they come together. Contact then on the curb. Superb racing. It's Tommy Usgaard. He leads here as they head into Rivage. But back comes Siggy here, Lewis. Yeah, it's not quite done yet. They head their way through Rivage side by side still between the pair of them. And Tommy Usgaard's not leaving anything left on the table. Kevin Siggy just about able to retake over the race lead. 2 tenths of a second between the pair of them. Tommy Usgaard close in behind as they head their way down the hill into Pouhon. It is fantastic racing between the pair of them, and somehow Kevin Siggy comes out on top. I've got to say, they didn't make a single mistake in all of that. It was beautiful stuff. Stellar racing between the two. Lots of respect. Kevin Siggy knows what's on the line. A race win that he is seeking retribution, and certainly this would go a long way to achieving that. But Tommy Usgaard, one of the surprise packages as well from the spring season, back again, looking to try and launch a charge here, this time in the opening race of the Gamers8. Certainly here in ESL R1, powered by Aramco, and I don't think it's all over quite just yet. We've still got the factor of one final sector. They come through Corbeil-Paul Frere now, and you can see Blanchimont very shortly will be lit up with the sound of engines, as now you can see them now in tandem. Tommy Usgaard as we ride on board as they make their way through the very fast left-hander. Will he try late send, heading in towards the bus stop? 15 points could be the difference if he achieves it. Does go in late here on Kevin Siggy. Has a look down the inside of the apex, did find room, but Siggy shut the door. A switch back from Usgaard as they come up towards the line, but it's Kevin Siggy. He's getting jiggy here at the ESL R1 Aramco. He's our first race winner here in this event. That was absolutely fantastic between Kevin Siggy and Tommy Usgaard. Round of applause to the pair of them. Amazing stuff, and you got to say, what a drive. I mean, stunning stuff, and those fireworks, they are for you, Kevin. That was mega. We're getting jiggy with Siggy here at ESL R1, powered by Aramco. The fireworks go up here for Siggy. The man with the greatest moustache you'll see in sim racing has just gone and managed to land himself a stellar race win and brings Team Redline back to the top. They're oh so familiar with it after being team champions in the spring season. A fantastic drive. I mean, 35 points, like I say, almost guaranteeing his progression through into tomorrow's action. Instantly in over the shoulder, Andre Kunchman, of course, team manager for this weekend, an engineer for the team, straight into him. Already almost instant debrief. What's happened? Where are you? And where are we going? Absolutely right indeed. We saw Barney as well standing by. We'll soon hear from Kevin Siggy. But, well, in fact, we will hear from him now, folks. We're going to pass you along now towards Barney. He's standing by with Kevin Siggy.
Kevin, this is already becoming quite familiar, right? I feel like that was extremely tense towards the end there. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel exhausted. I mean, yeah, at the end, like you said, it was kind of getting really close with the Porsche. I mean, he did a really good job at keeping the pace up, and obviously, I wasn't really particularly happy because my tires kept overheating on the rear, so I I just didn't have any pace. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but it's something to fix for tomorrow. And I'm just very happy that even after a very poor qualifying, that I managed to win. And yeah, it's still a solid point haul.
بالضبط بعد السباق الصعب اللي شفناه قبل شوي فعلا سيجي قدر يحقق النصر فيها رغم انه قال انه واجه شويه مشاكل في هذا السباق خصوصا مع ارتفاع حراره الكفرات فيها وقال انه فعلا فريق بورش قدر انه يلعب لعب مره ممتاز وحتى برضه يسابق بسباق جدا ممتاز وحافظ على المسافه بشكل جدا جيد وهذا شيء برضه شيء يحسب لهم لكن هو راح يشتغل بشكل افضل للايام الجايه.
Kevin, it's that age-old saying, isn't it? Put your best foot forward. So you managed to get through all of that chaos at the end of the race, let's say. So how are you feeling now going into Hockenheim?
I still feel strong. I mean, I know what to do, particularly in Hockenheim. It's one of my strongest tracks, like I said before. And now it's just up to me to not really screw up qualifying and panic a bit too much in some particular corners like I did at Spa. So that's the target. I mean, get the qualifying right and just keep on having the consistent pace to win the race.
بالضبط بعد ما سالنا اللاعب شلون راح تدخل معنا في السباق التالي اللي راح يكون فيه مضمار مختلف قال انه راح يركز في هذه المباراه وما يبغى يسبب ضغط كبير في هذا السباق اللي قبل شوي ما يبغى ياثر عليه في السباق الجاي راح يركز وراح يتسابق وراح يعطيه كامل طاقته لانه ما يبغى يضيع النقاط على الفتره الحاليه قبل لا يبدون وينتقلون الى بكره.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for the interview. Really appreciate it. Best of luck in the remainder of today and congratulations for your first win in the books.
Appreciate it, man.
Congrats.